planning on registering your child in a Dutch-speaking secondary school in Brussels? This is what we will be explaining in this short film. First comes the application and registration procedure for the first year of secondary school, and then comes information about how you should register for the upper years. Would you like answers to questions such as, who can go into the first grade A and the first grade B? How can I make a good choice of study program? What is the structure of secondary schools? In that case, be sure to watch the short films made by the Brussels CLB's Pupil Guidance Centres. You can find them on inschrijveninbrussel.be. Registration in the first grade of secondary school. The registration procedure for the first grade of secondary school takes place in 3 periods. The first period is the priority period for siblings of pupils and children of school staff. They can register first between the 10th and 21st of January. After these registrations, the schools calculate how many free places are left for all other children. The other children can register in the second period. Do you want to register your child for the first grade A? If so, your child has to apply for a place first. Do you want to register your child for the first grade B? If so, you can register immediately. On inschrijveninbrussel.be, you can find the list of schools for 1A and 1B. Applying for a place for the first grade A. Sign your child up for the first grade A via the website inschrijveninbrussel.be between the 7th of March, 9 a.m. and the 31st of March, 4 p.m. At that stage, there are certain rules of priority that apply. Indicate when applying for a place which priority group your child belongs to, since each school divides all the children who have signed up into various priority groups. 55% of all places are reserved for children with at least one parent who speaks Dutch sufficiently well. In addition, there is a simultaneous priority given to GOK and non-GOK pupils. GOK stands for Equal Educational Opportunities. GOK children are those whose mother does not have a diploma of secondary education or who receive a school allowance. 25% of all places are reserved for GOK children. 75% are for non-GOK children. For example, there are 20 places in a class. 5 places are reserved for GOK pupils, whether or not they are Dutch speakers. 25%. 15 places for non-GOK pupils. 75%, of which 11 places for Dutch native speakers. 55%. Before the start of each registration period, each school calculates how many free places are left. On the 21st of February at 10 a.m, inschrijveninbrussel.be will post an overview of the free places in each school. Consult that overview before you sign your child up. Look at how many free places are left for the priority group your child belongs to. If your child belongs to the GOK priority group, then look at how many places are reserved for GOK pupils. If your child belongs to the non-GOK priority group, then look at how many places are reserved for non-GOK pupils. Within the non-GOK priority, you can see how many of the non-GOK places are reserved for children in the Dutch-speaking priority group. The number of places for non-GOK pupils and the number of places reserved for the Dutch-speaking priority group should thus not be added together. If your child belongs to the Dutch-speaking priority group and the GOK priority group, then look at the GOK places and not at the places reserved for the Dutch-speaking priority group. Dutch-speaking GOK pupils don't count towards reaching the 55% of places reserved for Dutch speakers. Dutch-speaking GOK pupils have priority over non-Dutch-speaking GOK pupils, as long as there are free places for GOK pupils. If more children in a given priority group have signed up for a school than the number of places available, certain criteria are used to rank the pupils to fill the available places. the children will first be ranked based on choice of school and then based on chance. First come the children for whom the school was the first choice, then the children for whom the school was the second choice, and then those for whom the school was the third choice, and so on. Within a group of children with the same choice of school, the selection is made on the basis of chance. Each child signed up is given a random number generated by the computer. For each choice of school, those children are processed first who have received the lowest random number. An example, suppose that a school has 5 free places for Dutch-speaking non-Huk children, and there are 7 children from this priority group who have signed up for the school. When ranking them, the children for whom the school was the first choice come first. These children are then ranked on the basis of chance. That is, according to the increasing random numbers. Pupil A has the lowest number, and so is at the top of the list. Then come pupils B and C. After that come the children from whom the school was the second choice. Pupils D and E. They too will be ranked on the basis of chance. Pupil D has a low number, but will nevertheless be processed fourth. The reason for this is that the choice of school is more important than chance. Pupil D listed the school as only second choice, and therefore comes after all the children for whom it was the first choice. Pupil F has not been given a place. He or she listed the school as the second choice and has a higher random number than Pupil D and Pupil E. Pupil G received a low random number, but did not receive a place because the school was his or her third choice. How to apply for a place? Surf to inschrijveninbrussel.be and click on Applying for a Place. Create a file with your child's National Register number. This can be done between the 7th of March, 9 a.m. and the 31st of March, 4 p.m. Someone who signs up on the first day has the same chances as someone who signs up on the last day. It is important, however, to sign your child up within the period mentioned above. After that, it is no longer possible to sign up, and you will have to wait for the open registration period. There is much less chance of finding a place in a given school at that time. Important to note, applying for a place is not the same as registration. It means that you as the parent indicate online which schools you are interested in. After applying for a place, the computer distributes the pupils who have been signed up across the free places. Only after that, you know which school you can register for. On the website, you can find an instructional film under My File about how to apply for a place, how to look in your file, and make changes. When you apply for a place, enter the information requested about priority and gather the necessary documents. For if you indicate that your child is part of the Dutch-speaking priority group, you have to document this. You need 2 documents for this: an educational certificate of your Dutch competency, proof that this person is in fact the child's parent. If your family receives a school allowance by the Growth Package, then your child is eligible for the Huk priority. You need to provide proof of this as well. All information about the documents that are accepted as proof is available on inschrijveninbrussel.be. Click on My File and then go to Which Documents. Your first choice school will contact you to ask for the documents required. The school will check your documents between the 1st of April and the 5th of May. After applying for a place, 2 more steps follow. You receive a message with all the registration details. You register your child or have your child placed on the waiting list. On the 12th of May, you will receive an assignment message by email or post. You can also find the message in the mailbox of your file on the website. The message will give you the result of your application for a place. There are 3 possibilities. Your child has been given a place in the school of first choice. You can register your child. Because your child can be registered in the school of first choice, he or she will no longer be listed in the second, third or fourth schools of choice. The child is thus no longer on a waiting list. Your child has been given a place in the school of second, third, fourth choice. You can register your child in that school. After that, you can also have your child placed on the waiting list of the schools higher up on the list. Your child has not been given a place. In that case, your child can be placed on the waiting list of all the schools chosen. When a place becomes available, the school will contact you. If your child has a place, then please contact the school between the 13th of May and the 7th of June to register. All the information can be found on your assignment message. If you don't do so, you will lose the place reserved for you. If you did not receive a place in the school of first choice, you can have your child placed on the waiting list. Be sure to contact the school between the 13th of May and the 7th of June. If you don't do so, you will lose the reserved place as well. Registering for the first grade B. Until now, we were talking about the first grade A. If you wish to register your child for first grade B, you don't have to apply for a place. Contact the school between the 13th of May and the 7th of June to find out how to register your child. During this period, these schools register all the children. They cannot refuse on the grounds of lack of capacity. So you're sure to get a place. Have you not yet received a place in a school? Then you can still register during the open registration period. That is the third and final period, which begins on the 13th of June. On the 10th of June at 10 a.m, inschrijveninbrussel.be will post an overview of the free places remaining in each school. The registration takes place directly via the school and follows chronological order. First come, first served. You can also contact schools that have no more free places. Your child will then be placed on the waiting list. Because of the coronavirus measures, it could be that the registration cannot be held in person at the school. Keep an eye on the website of Inschrijven in Brussel for more information about the practical instructions for the open registrations. Registering in the second grade or in a higher grade of the general ASO, vocational BSO, artistic KSO, or technical secondary education TSO. Would you like to register your child in the second grade of secondary school or in a higher grade of the general ASO, vocational BSO, artistic KSO, or technical secondary education TSO? In that case, there is another registration procedure. This takes place in 2 periods. The first period is the priority period for schools with a Dutch-speaking parent. They have priority for 55% of the places. There is no priority for brothers and sisters, children of staff, or for Chuk and non-Chuk pupils. Contact the school between the 16th and 31st of May and register your child. The second period starts on the 1st of June, open registrations. Everyone can register, as long as there are places available. How do you know which schools still have places available? Check the website inschrijveninbrussel.be. There you will find regular updates on the number of places available per school. No places left? Ask the school for a rejection document. Your child will be placed on the school's waiting list. The school will contact you if a place opens up. The registration takes place directly via the school and follows chronological order. The first one who registers gets a place or is placed at the top of the waiting list. Still have questions? Have a look at inschrijveninbrussel.be or contact the help desk of the LOP, Local Consultation Platform for Brussels Secondary Education.